YouTube, what it do? It's your guy CJ, back with another episode, back with another installment of the CJ Wilkins YouTube channel. Also, the Be a Man podcast affiliate. This is season 10, which is crazy. I can't believe that I've been doing it for this long, but big shout out to all of the supporters, man, all of the subscribers. I appreciate all the likes, the shares, the comments, all of that, man. It means a lot, and it really keeps me motivated to keep doing this channel, you know. Somebody asked me a good question, bro, yesterday, right? And this is a really good friend of mine, I'll say. Well, not a good friend, but this is a person that I do business with, you know, occasionally. So I'll say a good colleague or whatever, right? But, like he's going through a season in his life right now to where he's, self-improving, working on himself, getting in the gym, getting his body right, getting his mind right, going to therapy, right? All the things that I preach that men and people in general should do to become better versions of themselves, right? So he was like, yo, CJ, man, I noticed that when I start improving myself and working on myself, that I've never been so lonely. Like, a lot of people are just like dropping like flies, not because they dying or passing away or going to jail or anything, but a lot of people are falling by the wayside simply by affiliation. You know what I'm saying? Almost like, because he's improving and he's doing a lot of the self-work to get better, people are, getting out of the way or, making themselves less accessible, right? The more success he gets, or the more, the more better he gets, and he was just dumbfounded by it, and he was like, man, why are people like that? Why am I not as popular as I was when I was fucking up and just, falling by the wayside and just blowing in the wind? He was like, man, when I wasn't on my business or about my shit, I was popular. I was popping. I was the dude, And I had to tell him, man, like, that's how life goes, anyone who is on a path to, or they've already like achieved some modicum of success, or any type of like small victory, they know for a fact, and I know for a fact, and now my friend and my associate is learning for a fact that success is a lonely road, bro. Success is a very lonely journey. Like, anytime you're on the road or on a path to becoming better, that means you're working on yourself. That means you're improving yourself. That means you're doing the things that you're supposed to do to become who God created you to be. You got to think about that and take a pause, right? You got to really pause and think about that. If I'm working on myself, if I'm improving day in and day out, and I'm becoming better, you have to think how not normal that is, right? You have to think how not average it is to be a person who is working on themselves. Most people don't do that. Most people do not self-improve. Most people don't work on themselves. Most people don't try to learn new things or strive to become better versions of themselves. Most people, from an intellectual standpoint, the last book they read was for exams in high school. So like their senior year of high school, that was the last time they even opened a book. And they're 25 now, they're 35 now, they're 30 now, they're 40 now, they're 50. Most people, if they're not in a situation or a position to where they have to do anything about bettering themselves or improving themselves, they don't do it. So here you are as a man or a woman listening to the sound of my voice in 2025, and you stuck to your New Year's resolutions. You're still in the gym. You're still saving money. You're still investing what you said you were going to invest, right? Whatever percentage that is of your monthly income. You're sticking to your budget. You cut back on the smoking if you're a smoker. You've all but eliminated the consumption of alcohol if you're a drinker, right? You got to realize, man, when you're at a lower state in life, when you're on a lower vibration, or if you reside on a lower frequency, you got to realize how many people within that circle you're in, they're only around because they vibrate on that same low state. They exist on that same lower plane that you're on. So when you begin to surge in life and climb, and you're on that ladder, right? And it could be a corporate ladder, it could be whatever, but I'm not talking about like in a job sense. When you're working hard on being a better you, forget a job, forget about money for a second, but those are all parts of it. But when you're becoming a better man or a better woman, a better person, right? You got to realize the people who you were around when you weren't trying to be a better person, they're going to be triggered by that. They're going to be kind of off-put. Not necessarily because they're bad people, but in a lot of instances, if you're fat, right, and you're lazy and you're out of shape and you're sloppy, right, when you see your homegirl or you see your friend, you see your homie start to get abs and they losing weight and her arms aren't big like the church lady that make the good chili dogs anymore, she gonna look at you funny like, oh, okay, you think you better than me now, right? Oh, like you started to get your money together, fellas. You used to be sleeping on people's couches and, you know, you was homeless for a little bit, you know. You used to have to ask your baby mother for money until you get paid or until you find a way to hit a lick, you know. You may have to stay with your mother for a little bit, or, you know, you may not have been on your feet at one point in your life, and now you're getting your currency together. You're getting your money right, you know. You starting to really generate some revenue out here to where now you can breathe a little bit, you know, or a lot, you know, depending on what you got going on. Those people that knew you when you was broke, dusted, and disgusted, they're going to feel a way about you getting your shit together. Because, see, everybody, I don't know, like, if a lot of y'all don't know, and I assume from the naivety that I get in certain emails and comments, and that's not a knock on those people, right? God bless them. A lot of people are green to how people react or respond to people around them getting better. A lot of people that you meet, that you come across, even people that you may confess are your family or your friends, quote unquote, they love you and they adore you for as long as you're on the same level as them, or if you're beneath them, if you're under them, right? And when I say beneath or under, I'm not saying like as a human, because no one is technically better than someone as a human, right? But from a societal sense, right? From a societal standpoint, when we look at and when we rank people based on where they are, what they have going on, their trajectory, right? Through whatever lens of success we're viewing, right? They don't want to see you higher than they are. They don't want to see you doing better than they are. They don't want to see you in better shape. They don't want to see you make more money. They don't want to see you drive a nicer car. They don't want to see you live in a better house or a bigger house, whatever that means, right? And it's not necessarily because they hate you. Some of them do hate you, and they're haters, right? But a lot of times, it holds a mirror. Like what your success does to people, whether you think about it or not, whether you know it or not, your success and your hard work and the diligence it took for you to get all of that, right? Because it's never given. It's always earned, right? It holds a mirror up to what they're not doing, right? And instead of being a person of righteousness and saying, you know what? I see what my homeboy doing. I see what my brother got going on over there. I see how my sis is, growing and doing this. I see how my homegirl, she got her credit right, and now she out here building a business. You know, instead of seeing that and being inspired and motivated and being genuinely happy for you, right? And if it's something they want to do, okay, they can be humble and, ask you how you did it even, or, try to, use your life as a testimony that one is possible, but also I can do it too. Instead of doing that, what most people will do, they're hate, right? And of course, you can't have a hater in your life. If you got people around you who want your life or they're jealous of what you got going on, then you have to do what you got to do to separate yourself from those people. Those people are very dangerous. Very dangerous, you know. Nobody wants to be Selena when we know what Selena's manager did, right? And a lot of people are Selena's manager. They're not Selena. They're not the person with the gift. They're not the people, they're not the person with the talent. They may be the person who's associated with the person who has the talent. And if they don't know how to manage their self-agency to a point to where they can become better themselves and grow by a proxy of seeing you, if they're bitter, if they're scorned, if they're hurt by you winning and you going into your season to where God is giving you your flowers, right? Because you was patient, because you kept the belief, because you kept the faith, because you kept working hard, because you day in and day out went through the monotonous cycle of building something of value, and now you're reaping the benefits of it. If they're jealous of that, they're going to try to get away from you, right? Some haters are vindictive, and they'll try to, stay up under you to get, a slice of the pie, or they'll try to sabotage what you got because they hate themselves a lot and they're insecure with where they are. But a lot of haters, they just try to get away from you. So it only makes sense, and I was telling this to my homeboy, like, hey, man, it makes sense that you're lonely in your winning season because you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to have a whole bunch of people up under you while you're striving for success anyway, because most people don't understand the hard work it takes to even become successful. If you look at the average person, bro, I'm talking like if you just go out on a Friday night or a Wednesday night and just walk downtown, right? If you take 25 people at random, bro, 23 of them would not understand the ingredients that it takes or it took to become successful. They just wouldn't get it. Even if you gave them the answers to the test, even if you just opened up a book and said, okay, A, B, and C is what it takes, they still wouldn't get it. And they wouldn't get it not because they're dumb, but they wouldn't get it because they may not have the fortitude or the wherewithal to get to or be who they're supposed to be, Texas has some of the worst drivers too, by the way. I want y'all to know that. If you've never been to Texas, I know this is a sidebar, but this lady was pulling into a one-way, and I'm like, how did you even get in that lane to even do that? Some really horrible drivers in Texas. Like, they just give away driver's license out here, I assume, because there's no way. A lot of the drivers here, I don't know how they passed the exam to get on the road with a motorized vehicle. But anyway, back to this game that I never left or forgot about. You gotta expect that to come with the territory, bro. People are gonna be jealous-hearted. People are gonna be, some people operate in like a nefarious type way when you're winning in life, you know what I'm saying? Some people are more spiteful and conniving about it, but all in all, man, you have to always put yourself in a position to do what's best for you. And you have to kind of almost view it as a place of solace. Like when you're going through your season and you're increasing your success, and you're winning. Sometimes, man, you just go on a run, and I'm on a run kind of like that right now, bro. Where it's like everything I'm touching is turning to gold right now, and I'm grateful for that. I'm very humble for that. I don't come on here and brag a lot or tell y'all, man, about what's going on, but I have multiple things going on in my life right now that I just 6 months ago I couldn't even envision it. When I bought in the new year, 2025, man, in January, I just prayed for a great year. I prayed to have a breakout year, and that's really what I'm having. I'm having an MVP type season right now, right? And I pray to the Most High that it continues, but He also blessed me with the wherewithal to know how to manage those blessings too, because a lot of times people ask for blessings, but they don't ask for the discernment or the strength to be able to manage those blessings once they get them. So I always ask God for that too. But anybody who's listening at this point and they're still processing man, I'm having all this good stuff happen for me, and I'm moving up. But it seems like the people that were around me or are around me aren't happy. Don't hold it against them, but do what you got to do to protect yourself and your gift. Because the worst thing that can happen to you is be a person who's in a winning season and you have a Judas around you. If you got a Judas around you, get Judas the fuck from around you. And excuse my language, but you have to remove any Judas in your life. Anybody that hate to see you win, they get acid reflux in their chest every time God bless you. And a lot of y'all know people like that, right? You got to get them away. And on top of that, take solitude in the fact that, you know what? This journey is lonely, but use that time to work on yourself. Use that time to keep getting better. And what'll happen also, man, when you like self-improve, right? It's not a destination. It's always a journey. It's going to be it's a constant thing. When you get to a certain age, there's no age in this world where you get to where you shouldn't be trying to improve in something in your life. So this is a continuous journey. It never ends. It's a running bill. And every day you got to pay the toll. You got to pay the price to be who you want to be. You know, it's never free. And if it is free, you need to question it. But take joy in the fact that I don't have people around me who don't want me to win. Because the higher up you go, it gets lonely. It gets lonelier, right? Because most people aren't on that same mind. They're not of that same mindset. They're not on the same wavelength of people who really go out there and get it and they make a way out of no way and they're climbing and they're not content with how things are or the status quo, right? So if you lose people, trust me, you're losing the right people, because the people who are meant to be there in your life, as you ascend and when you climb, those are going to be people who are meant to be in your life, right? And the people who fall off, they're just making room for the people who are supposed to be there. As always, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your guy CJ, and I'm out. Peace.